Okay, I'm going to say good afternoon or good morning or good evening, depending on where you are. We've just gone live, so that means people who've signed up for the webinar are now just signing in. It's going to take usually a few minutes for everyone to drop in, but I'm seeing the numbers increasing all the while. We do have about 70 people signed up, so we will give it a few minutes as people come in, and I'm recognizing some names already, which is fantastic because we've got people who are taking the exam in April, and then obviously other people that are in touch with us as well. We are also live on YouTube and Facebook, so anyone who's actually watching on those formats who wants to ask a question, you can do so really easily in the chat feature there. And as more people drop in, more attendees are coming in all the time. That's brilliant. More people will probably come in over the next few minutes. All right, so we will just do some introductions now. I'm going to introduce my colleagues from Masaryk University. Masaryk University is one of the largest medical schools. Those who don't know much about it, one of the largest medical schools in continental Europe. Has a fantastic English program, both in medicine and dentistry. Visited it many times, as have my colleagues, and even brought college counsellors from around the world to Masaryk as well. For those who wonder where it is, because universities in the UK generally are named after the city they're in, it's in the city of Brno, the second biggest city, but I don't want to steal Susanna's thunder. She'll tell you more about the city and its opportunities as we get through the presentation, but easily accessible with its own airport from London, as well as from Prague, as well as from Vienna, which is often where I fly into. So we do have people joining us from all over the world. And more people are coming in all the time, but we do need to make a start on the presentation. So I'm going to introduce first who will be doing the presentation, Susanna. Susanna is coming to do the London exam at the end of April, just before the coronation. So it's going to be really busy and lots going on in London for Susanna to see. And Helena, who I've worked with for many years, who's come to do many exams, not just in the UK, but further afield as well. One thing I want to point out, which was kind of information that I got this year for those that want this information, is Masaryk University has got one of the most successful rates in terms of registration with the General Medical Council in the UK. The GMC wrote to me recently, and there are over 270 Masaryk graduates working in the UK as fully registered doctors right now, which is a fantastic number. Much more than most other universities, actually, and that number is only increasing every single year as we actually see our graduates that we worked with 6 years ago pass out from Masaryk and come to work in the NHS. And in fact, that excellence has been identified by a number of hospitals that target Masaryk University for their graduates to come and work in the UK. The one thing I will mention, and which is also fantastic news, is as it stands right now, there's been no change to the recognition of the programmes following Brexit. The programmes are still directly recognised, currently exempt from the licensing exams. Things might change over the next 6 years as new things come in place, but the programme is automatically recognised in the UK. So we're going to see those 270 sail past 300 over the next 12 months and past 400 in the not too distant future as well. So Susanna, I'm going to hand over to you, and I'll monitor what's going on with any questions on YouTube or on Facebook. For those that are in the Zoom and are not anonymized themselves, so we can see you can ask questions directly on the Q&A feature. Anyone else, the Q&A feature is there. We will generally leave all the questions to the end. And what I would say is, don't worry if you think your question's not relevant or your question's stupid. There are no such thing as stupid questions, because if you've got that question, someone else has definitely got it as well. To type it into the Q&A feature, we won't read out your name. We'll just read out the question. So don't worry, you're not going to be identifiable from that. And that means that anyone listening to the recording will be able to hear the question and the answer as well as the other attendees. No one can see your question apart from myself and my colleagues from Masaryk University. And as a medical professional, we always want you to ask questions if there's something you don't know. It's the only way which you will make sure you're safe and effective in your career. We will, as I said, Malak, I see you've already answered a question. We will deal with them right at the end, so it won't be ignored. We'll hold on to it and we'll go through them in order in which they are asked. So without any further ado, Susanna, I'm going to mute myself because people have heard too much of me, and I'm going to hand over to you, and I'll keep an eye on the questions and any comments that are coming on Facebook or YouTube. Over to you, Susanna.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction. So my name is Susanna, and I'm here today at the webinar together with Helena because we want to tell you something more about our university, about our medical faculty in Brno. So I will start with my presentation. So let me share my screen quickly. Yes. So I hope you can see my screen that is shared. Yes, perfect. So let me welcome you once again at this webinar. We are really glad that it was organized, that we can tell you more about the city of Brno, about our university, and about the admission information in general. So Brno is the second largest city in Czech Republic. Hopefully some of you had the chance to visit it already, or if not, you should definitely do so. It has really a great location in the Central Europe. Yeah, as Mr. Ambrose said, it's easily reachable by, there is an airport directly in Brno and there are flights to London, but you can also use the Vienna or Prague airport. Yes, I would say that Brno is really a student city. So the ratio of students is really high. So probably every 6th or 7th person you will meet in Brno probably will be a student. That's when I compare it, for example, with Prague, which is more of a touristic place. So let's say can be a bit overwhelming. Brno is the right place for studying because it has everything what a student needs. It has also really nice public transportation system, so you can get easily everywhere by public transport, and it's reachable, I would say mostly like 30 minutes you can get everywhere. So as I said, Brno is a student city. So Masaryk University has more than 35,000.
Sorry to pull you. The slide I'm seeing at the moment is the how to be admitted slide. Is that the one that we're pulling up at the moment?
Let me. And now?
There we go. Now we're.
Has it switched? Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, that happened with me. But thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, because then I started it. So this was the slide before. Maybe I can show it again. I'm sorry. So this is what I was talking about at the Brno. And how it is a really, let's say, friendly city for students, because Masaryk University is a big university. It has more than 35,000 students that study here, and that's not the only new university in Brno. Therefore, really the ratio of student or the concentration of students is really, really high. So you can definitely find there things to do a part of studying. But of course, as a medical student, your main job is to study. But of course, if you want to go to a cafe or into the city center, there it will be crowded with people, with young people. You just need to find the right balance between studying and free time. Important thing also to mention is that Brno is we say city of science, because an important person worked in Brno, and it was Gregor Johann Mendel. And I'm sure if you are interested in medicine, you know that he is the father of genetics. As I mentioned, Masaryk University is really a large university. It has 10 faculties altogether, so it's not just medicine, but you can study here economics, informatics, and all kinds of fields. So it's really a large university with already a long tradition. But we are here for Faculty of Medicine. Faculty of Medicine is located in a university campus called Bohunice, and it is a really modern campus. You can see on the picture, the red building is the main entrance to our faculty. And right next to it, in those white buildings, is one of our teaching hospitals. So you can see the whole area is connected with a teaching hospital. And also one important thing is maybe the bridge that is coming from the entrance. It will lead you to a shopping mall. And it's important because now you know that you won't starve. You can go there, have lunch. There is a big Tesco grocery store. There are many like banks, shops, pharmacy. Everything is there in one place. That's what's part of the campus life, as I mentioned. There is also in the shopping mall a student canteen where students can have lunch. But also next to our building of medical faculty is faculty of sports. So you can even do some sports activities within the campus area. And actually all students of Masaryk University needs to have 2 semesters of sports. So I think that is nice that you can have it right next to the place you study. What we are really proud of, I would say, that part of the campus, at the end of the campus, you can find our simulation center. So this is something really unique. It's a I would say it's a simulation hospital, and it's really brand new because it was opened like 2 years ago. And if you can imagine a hospital, it has everything. So on the ground floor, you will see an emergency room. We have our ambulance car. There are ICU units. There are operating theaters, everything in one place. So this is how, let's say, our teaching methods are becoming more and more practical because the students can experience here many scenarios that they would not, for example, in the hospitals, right? Because here you can use the modern technique to simulate all kinds of, let's say, simulations. So already first year students will have their classes here. So they will have their first aid class and also anatomy seminars. And then slowly in the higher years, more and more classes are taught in the simulation center. So let's just imagine if you will have, let's say, a clinical rotation at the gynecology, you will spend a few weeks at the simulation center, and then you will go to the hospital and treat the real patient. So really simulation is the place where you will learn. You can still make mistakes and learn from them. And then you will proceed to the real hospitals to treat the patients. As you probably know, because some of you may already applied, we offer 2 programs in English, and it's general medicine for 6 years and dentistry for 5 years. As it was mentioned, the degree is fully recognized in the EU, in UK as well, US, and globally. Just to tell you something more about the programs. So programs are, let's say, divided into 2 parts, because I would say that it's a combination of theoretical and practical teaching. So the first 3 years or 2.5 will be more theoretical, and you will be spending most of the time at the campus, having your classes of biology, anatomy, and so on. And then in the higher years, you will start your clinical rotations at the hospitals. Brno has like 5 teaching hospitals around the city where you can do the clinical rotations. Important thing to mention that, for example, in the 6th year, when you will have your pre-graduational practices, you can also spend them and do them abroad. We really support, especially the international students, to go, for example, to their home country to experience the health system in their home country, because probably they want to return. And they can do some of these pre-graduational practices there. So you would be able to do it, for example, in UK. And we also collaborate with some of the hospitals, and the students really use this opportunity to go and spend a few weeks in hospitals in UK. Let's say I would go back with you have also overview of the tuition fee. It's important to say that it's possible to pay separately per each semester. It means that you do not have to pay for the whole academic year. You will pay in 2 settlements per semester. Costs of living, this is difficult, let's say, to guess, because it depends, of course, on your lifestyle, right? But I would say that it's around 450, 650 pounds. I calculated it. Of course, it depends whether you want to stay at the university dormitories or you will find a private accommodation. We always, the students in the first year have the option to stay at the dormitories, which is, I think, really convenient. The booking is taking place in the summer, and I think it's good to start living in a dormitory for a semester and for 2. And once you know more people, you get to know the city better, you can find a private accommodation. So this is mostly what the students do, because we think, of course, it's more difficult to find a place when you are still in UK, right? So this is also an option. You have the option to stay at our dormitories. How to be admitted. So this is now the important part for you. So, of course, you need to finish your high school. your secondary school. And you need to contact our partner agency. In this case, it's Medical Doorway. So Mr. Ambrose, as he mentioned, he will organize the exam in London at the end of April. And actually, I will be joining it on behalf of Masaryk. So I will be coming. So hopefully I will see some of you there. So you will need to do 3 tests, 3 examination tests from chemistry, biology, and then you can choose between physics or mathematics. It's sufficient if you choose on the day of the exam whether you want to do mathematics or physics. You do not need to let us know upfront. It's a multiple choice question. There is always one correct answer, but all this information will be given on the day of the exam. Yeah. Once you are successful and you are admitted, I will start to prepare the admission documents, which are now important for you because one of the documents will be the invoice. And it's important to look at the date or the payment deadline for the invoice. As I said, you can pay for each semester. Yes, you do not have to pay for the whole year, but there will be a deadline. And by this deadline, you need to pay the fee for the first semester to secure your seat at our faculty. So we know that you are really interested and you will enroll in September. You will also need to, of course, now after Brexit, you will also need to apply for a visa, a study visa, but all this you will do with the help of Mr. Ambrose from the agency. They will lead you how to proceed with the visa application. What next to expect? You will also need to provide us your secondary school documents because we will need to verify them. But again, you will have the support of the agency. And as I mentioned, the room booking or when you want to use the dormitories, you will receive information how to book them, and it will be done in July. We will send out the information. So what to expect in the first day? So you are not afraid to come to Brno. If you are interested, you can definitely join the intensive Czech language course. We always advise the students to join this course. It's a 2-week intensive Czech course before the tuition starts. And maybe I didn't mention that you will have Czech language classes during your studies. For the first 4 years, you will have Czech classes. So you are able, at least on a certain level, to communicate with the patients in the hospitals during the clinical rotations. So, and if you want to have a good foundation for the first semester, I really highly recommend to join this course because then during the first semester, you can focus on anatomy, on biology, on biophysics, and so on. And you will already know more. You don't have to study so hard in the Czech course because you will already know it. Also, the school or the tuition will start on 18th of September. But 1 week before, there will be an orientation week organized by our student association called MIMSA. You will get to know them better. This is an association of international students who will organize special events for you to get to know the city better, to get to know each other better. So don't be afraid. This first week is really something what you will definitely enjoy. And during this week, enrollments will also take place because you will receive your admission papers and there will be a date you are invited to come for the enrollments, but then in the afternoon, you will get to know the city and the other students better. As I mentioned, MIMSA, the student organization, they not only help us with the orientation week, they will guide you through the whole studies. So don't be afraid that you would be alone because we have more than 800 international students, and some of them are part of this association. And they are organizing also some charity events, social sports events. But what is important, they have an education team. I would say they offer like a tutoring. They have special anatomy sessions, blood taking seminars. So when you will need support and help, these are the guys you need to contact because they are the successful higher year students who will help you to achieve your goals. So that was everything from me, really, let's say briefly. But if you have then any questions, I'm sure you will be asking now, but also in the future, you can either contact us at admission@med.muni.cz. This is the email address where I or Helena will answer you, or you can contact the agency because they are well experienced already, so many questions they can already answer. And you can also follow us on Instagram, on our Facebook, because we have interesting posts from our students, and you can get some more experience what the student life and at our faculty looks like. And I will be really happy to see you in April, and even more happy when I see you then in September.
Mm-hmm.
So thank
you, Susanna. We've actually got some really good questions. I've also got some questions popping up as well on Facebook as well from a college counsellor who's actually covering us, who's watching us on Facebook, who follows us there as well. So we can deal with all these questions now. Anyone else got any questions at all? Pop them in. It's not a problem. Ask any question you want. We're going to go through them one by one. There's a few things before we get into the questions, which I'm going to just reinforce here for those people watching. The Simulation Centre at Masaryk University is like nothing else. There are medical schools in the United States and the UK that, if they saw it, would be green-eyed envies at what they've got at Masaryk University. It's a 40 million euro, facility. It's like nothing else at all that you're going to see in most other medical schools. There is a really, really good video of it on our YouTube channel as well, which shows you a lot more about what goes on there. And I think some of the questions that we're going to go through here do relate to the Simulation Centre as well, Susanna, so that'll give us more chance to talk about it as well. One really important, two really important, well, many important things, but two other things that Susanna mentioned in the presentation, which I think is really important to get out now, is that why do the university want you to pay that invoice up front? There are two main reasons for it. Number one, medicine is an oversubscribed subject, okay? Any university that's worth its credentials have more applicants than they have per place. No one wants to see a seat going vacant come September because there are so many other students who would desperately want that place. So it's important that the university know if you are made an offer that you are definitely coming. Some students decide they want to stay in their home country if they are lucky enough to receive an offer there. It's fine. Just let us know in advance and let myself or your own representative or the university know in advance so we can make sure that that seat, if available, can be released to another student further down the line. That's the one. Second thing is it's getting, knowing that for British students now especially, you need to apply for a visa. Paying the semester tuition fees is often one of the beneficial aspects of demonstrating that you've got the financial ability to actually study at the university, and having that invoice showing you've paid the semester fees is often a benefit for when you're having your visa interview. And also the university don't want to be sending documents left, right and centre for visa paperwork if they're not certain that you're coming. It's a lot of paper, we're trying to be as carbon neutral as possible now, so it's important that we know that you're definitely going to be attending the university, and the best way of doing that is making sure that you've paid your tuition fees. I think we can all agree on that one. The next thing is about the visa. The reason I'm saying this now is there are no questions about the visa at the moment, which is peculiar, but the way the visa system works is it's the same for anyone who's a third country citizen. We've worked directly with the embassy, both in the UK, Hong Kong and the UAE. We know the procedures. We've worked with hundreds of students through the visa procedures, even before Brexit. And if you are applying through London, we have direct lines of communication with the embassy. So the wait times to have your visa appointment are pretty low because we would make sure all of your paperwork is ready in advance. That being said, you do need to get your paperwork ready. The university will send you their paperwork, but there are certain documents you will need. Sometimes it's more than one, sometimes it's a few documents that you will need. It depends on individual circumstances to apply for your visa. Once you've had your appointment, it can take a minimum, and I say minimum, of 2 months to get the visa, not including bank holidays and national holidays. So the more time you give to get your visa, should you need one to travel to the Czech Republic, the better. The more time you give, because as you can see, your induction is on the 11th of September. Okay, if you're only applying for your visa in August, okay, and you're from a country which doesn't allow you access to the Schengen zone without the visa, you're going to miss your enrollment. And as Helena or Susanna will tell you, and I will tell you as a former member of faculty, if you miss even 1 week of medical school teaching, you're struggling to catch up because the amount of volume of information is significant. So 3 things there. Yes, the simulation center is fantastic, which is definitely why one of the main reasons you should look at Masaryk. Not the only reason, but definitely one of the main ones. And as well as making sure you do pay your invoice on time and giving enough time to apply for your visa. The 3 kind of important take-homes from the start of this Q&A session. Okay, if it's okay, Susanna and Alina, is it okay if we start the questions? Okay, I'm actually going to go straight over to to Gulson, who's on one of our college counsellors who's watching us on our Facebook page. Basically, she might have missed this, but can you tell entry requirements, particularly for A-level students, so British A-level students, apart from the entrance exam? There are entrance requirements. As I said, main thing is first get through the entrance exam, and we would advise most A-level students who are applying for this to definitely have biology and chemistry. Okay, you're not going to get very far without biology and chemistry A-level, and also preferably either maths or physics as the 3rd A-level. We do get students who apply whose 3rd A-level is not maths or physics. Okay, they can get through the entrance exam with some additional work, but if it's a year 12 student or a year 11 student thinking about their A-levels, my recommendation is definitely biology, chemistry, and either maths or physics. Would you agree with me on that, Helena or Susanna?
We absolutely agree, but I would specify that always it's better to study physics, because the first exams that you will face will be biophysics, which could be a bit problematic in case you do not have elementary knowledge of physics. So if you are still deciding what the science take, I would definitely recommend physics, not math.
Yeah. And I think if you haven't taken physics at A-level but do get through the exam, it's definitely worthwhile doing some preparation in physics. Masaryk actually have a fantastic, it's mainly an exam prep resource that they have now, which they'll advertise on Instagram, and we send out information on that as well. So definitely do look at the Masaryk package for physics as well. That has we've recently posted it on our Instagram as well.
Yeah. On the website, there are available e-learning preparatory courses that you can purchase: chemistry, biology, physics. Yep. As you probably meant, and you can already buy them and study from the comfort of your home. Perfect. So take this advantage, please.
Yeah, definitely good advice. And but Gulson, to go back to the question, there's no specific grade requirement. Students do need to pass their 3 A-levels because we need to get the higher education certificates verified through this nostrification process. So if a student doesn't come with 3 A-levels, and this is linking to another question that was asked by earlier on, is you do need 3 full A-levels at passing grades, otherwise you won't go through the general nostrification. And even if you pass the entrance exam, you would not be able to enroll at the university, because you need to have the same rights to enter university as you would in the UK, which is a standard 3 A-levels. But like I said, so the subjects from a legal perspective don't matter, but getting through the entrance exam and being prepared for your first year at university is an important aspect. So those subjects, the science-based subjects, are imperative. What I will add then, if you don't mind, Helena, is Masaryk has a fantastic foundation year program, which runs from October to March. So if you're a student that perhaps hasn't had a full suite of sciences, and every single year we do have students who go on to this program, if you are that kind of student who's perhaps on a career trajectory change, if you perhaps did more humanities subjects or didn't cover the 3 or even 2 of the sciences, this foundation program at Masaryk really does prepare you, in my view, even better than A-levels for the first year of medicine, because it's specifically designed to go on to the first year of medicine or dentistry.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, Ben. Just to specify again that the foundation program doesn't substitute A-levels or a high school diploma, but definitely will help the students who are not still focused on science, or sometimes if I would recommend it to those of you who are, let's say, very young. Sometimes it's better to have this mid-step before you start directly study medicine, because the foundation program is told by the teachers that there's going to be teaching you in a degree in the first year of medicine in the same facilities as the medical students in the same campus. So this is going to be the advantage of like a mid-step, and you will get used to our study system. So if you really want something in between the preparation and the year off, I think that this could be the good option.
Yeah, no, we've had students who perhaps who were 17 when they graduated from high school, go into that foundation program, allowed another year of maturity in addition to deepening their knowledge. But you, I like just to reinforce what Helena said, everyone, you would still need an IB, a CBSE, or 3 A-level passes, irrespective of subjects, to go onto that foundation program. It doesn't change the actual minimum requirement of what you need in terms of numbers of A-level, etc. I'm going to go off a bit tangent on some of the questions here. I'm not going to answer them in the same order because I'm going to try and pull some things together. Some we can deal with quite quickly. Someone's asked about, is there a large Indian community? Now we'll talk in this way 2 ways, because actually in terms of Indian community in Brno, there are 2 big features. One is the university, and I think Helena and Susanna will tell you about not just Indian, but a very international community in the university. Would you agree with me on that?
I would say that we have 3, if I can say, 3 kinds of Indian students. Indian from India, Indian from Emirates, and Indian from UK. So the community of Indian students is really large in the Masaryk University.
But Brno is also an IT center as well. There's a huge Microsoft and IBM center in Brno, and there's a lot of IT workers who come from India to work in Brno, actually. So you're not just going to find people there who are students, you're going to find PhD graduates.
That's true. Many PhD and many scientists from India are in Brno, in our Central European Research Center, which is connected with the university.
And as a result, you know, people always ask this question, you can get access to Indian food, you know, and vegetarian food, etc., very easily in Brno as well. Okay. Someone's asked a very basic question, which might sound basic to most people, but, you know, so this person graduates in April 24. When should they start applying for September, October? Really, you know, we open applications on our system from around about November time. Okay. But on the university system, I think officially the system opens in January. Am I right on that one?
Yes, from always beginning of January we open.
Perfect. So you can actually apply on the system, and it doesn't take very long to apply, to be honest, whether you do that directly or on the Medical Doorway site. It's very easy to make the application. You do need a little bit of paperwork. One thing you don't need to do is wait until you've graduated. In fact, the earlier you apply, the better, because it's just a box ticked and you're ready to move on with the rest of the application. Susanna, someone's asked about the summer break. Okay, and if we expand that a little bit and we talk about how the actual academic year works, I think actually, and we can inform students there so they've got an idea about how their kind of per year 6 years would go, if that's okay.
Yes, so I would say that one academic year, the first year is divided into semesters. So there are 2 semesters. So if you will start, let's say mid-September, you will have classes approximately till Christmas. And then you will have an examination period for a month and a half. And then again, in mid-February, you will start the 2nd semester, again having classes, I think till end of May. And again, June, July, you have the examination period. And then you have the summer break. Of course, it's up to you how you will manage the exams, because this will be up to you. There will be many dates and you will need to sign up. Sometimes you will need to be quick because the good dates will be gone really fast. So really the examination period, let's say, is a month and a half, and you will need to find some balance to balance your exams, how to do them, but not to leave them at the end of the examination period. Yes, so in case you fail or something happens, you still have time to retake the exam. So we always suggest to try the exams on the beginning of the examination period, because anyway, you have to study the whole semester. Yes, you are not starting to study during the examination period. You already need to be, let's say, prepared. So you have, of course, the summer off, but it depends how soon you will be finished with the exams.
I think I'll talk a little bit more to the students about how the exam systems work, and please do interject and correct me. I have talked about this quite a lot, but you never know, I can make mistakes. The difference I used to teach in a UK university, the one difference is in the Czech Republic, you were given a lot more autonomy over your studies. So you have the ability to book the exams in certain windows. You don't always have to take them on the day. When I was a student at university, when I was a teacher, you know, we told our students, your exam is on this particular date at this particular time. That's the time you turn up. It's not like that in the Czech Republic. There are exam periods, and timetables open and you can book your exam slot. So some students might take their exams in a particular order. Some might change the order around. My advice, and this is taken from the students who we've seen graduating, and I've been to graduations last year as well, and I've seen a few of more of our students graduating, we'll be seeing more of our students graduating this year, is the more prepared you are, and if you try to get those bigger exams out the way first, early on, you'll tend to be more successful because you can get multiple attempts. I think you get like 3 attempts at most of the exams, if not all the exams. And the one difference perhaps in the UK is if perhaps you don't clear your exam the first time, your mark, even if you perform exceptionally well the second time, is still awarded at the grade that you would have achieved, the high mark. In the UK, if you take a reattempt, your mark is always capped at the lowest level. That's not the case in the Czech Republic. So there's nothing to be, lost by trying to plan to take your exams as early as you can. In fact, students who do struggle with their studies are the ones who tend to put all of the big exams to the last minute, and they're trying to revise far too much material at that last opportunity. The university offer mini exams as you go through your big modules to keep you on the go with your studies. Engage with those exams. Do make sure that you plan in advance. And I think one thing that, as Susanna mentioned, Brno is a great city in that it provides every opportunity for you to be away from the classroom, but it's still a big family environment. So you're not lost in the kind of the capital city environment that you perhaps would be in other bigger cities across Europe. So you can come away from the class to allow your brain time to recover, but do make sure that you plan your time appropriately to get through the exams as soon as you can. If you get through your exams early in the second semester, you can effectively have, I think, practically all of July and August away from studies.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to skip to a few of the questions down below because quite a few people have asked the exact same question. And this is from our IB candidates, okay? They've asked about what the minimum requirements are for the IB. As I said, there are no specific grade requirements, but on the IB, you're going to be taking, most applicants, near enough everyone, takes 2 sciences at the higher level. Biology and chemistry are the most common, with maths at the standard level. But that might mean you might have to do some additional study in maths or physics, but there's no grade point requirement for the IB. What you are required to do is simply get through that, simply get through the exam, the entrance exam, and make sure you graduate with IB on get your results, usually 5th or 6th of July, the results usually come out, okay? But as I said, no specific requirements. That's the same for someone who said about CBSE. And again, for CBSE, we are going to be looking at making sure that you've got those sciences at the higher level. And so below that, someone's asked about, do you need both years of A-levels or just AS? No, we need full A-levels. Half the A-level, the AS, which you can't actually do in the UK anymore, is actually not an option. You wouldn't be enrolled at the university with just AS. You need 3 full A-levels, okay? And again, someone's asked about the Cambridge high schooling system. As long as that qualification gives you access to a university placement in your home country, and if it's an A-level system, it has to be 3 full A-levels, and that will be accepted. Now, there's been a couple of questions about scholarships. We will look at that next, if that's okay. Now, there are no full scholarships, I'm afraid, okay? No one else is going to pay your tuition fees, so you do have to bring the finance with you, okay? But as far as I'm aware, there are some scholarships for academic excellence, not very big, but some as they progress through the course. And I think you inform students of these on the enrollment in September, but that might be something that might be worth bringing up now, actually, because there have been some questions about those kinds of projects. Susanna, yeah?
Yes, I'm not sure. Maybe Helena can then add more about the scholarships if there's. Yes, so as you mentioned, we also have like a small scholarship for accommodation, which I would probably start, but this is really a small amount of money, but still it's nice because it's for every student who's not like permanent residency is in Brno, of course. So you will receive each semester a small amount of money, like it should, I don't know, it always changes each year. But it used to like cover one month rent in the dormitories or something like that. But you need to apply, so there is certain deadlines. You need to apply through the system. So this comes every semester if you don't forget to apply. And as you said, there is also a scholarship for students with, say, excellent grades. this, but this is achieved like more in the higher years that they have it.
Yeah.
And then of course, students, because we have this, as I said, the student association, we have ambassadors, so any, of course, extra works that the students do, we always try to reward them in certain way to help them, because it's really important for us. They are helping us as well. So this is also a way, if you are active, really an active student also in these, let's say, organizations. And so this is also a way, let's say, how to be awarded.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, so as I said, the university do give some small scholarships if you're an excellent student, as well as the accommodation student, but the excellence is excellence while you're at the university, not before. And that's the important distinction to make, I would say. Right, someone's asked a fantastic question. It's only a short one, but it's a fantastic one. It gives us a chance to extrapolate a bit more. What are class sizes like? Because I know Czech Republic does small group learning in an excellent way. So if you want to talk a little bit more about, or Susanna or Helena, about the class sizes and how they go from lectures to practicals to seminars, etc.
Okay, I will do. You should know that every year, probably, I do not realize whether the Ben mentioned, but every year we accept approximately 200 international students into the general medicine program. And those students we divide into 10 study groups, up to 20 people. The study groups are created in an international way. So always several students from UK, plus several Germans, several Italians, French, students from Emirates, Japan, etc., etc. So the lectures are in a big lecture hall. All students are together, but the practices, seminars, laboratories, and dissections are done by those smaller study groups up to 20 people. So you are rotating. You can imagine that the school system and your schedule is similar like in your high school. For example, on Monday, you start with the biology lecture. Then you continue with the anatomy seminar, then you continue with the biology seminar, plus biology practice, anatomy dissection, etc. So during the weekend, you are rotating. You have a combination of practices, seminar, lectures, and laboratories. Plus, of course, you can choose elective courses from our faculty or the other faculties, because we have 10 faculties, and you can choose elective courses, not only sports, but also courses from Faculty of Pharmacy or Faculty of Art or Social Studies.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I said, so you'll find that you will do some large group teaching, but a lot of small group teaching, and especially someone asked a question about the facilities of the simulation center and cadavers. You will have access to a whole suite of cadaveric study as well in very small groups, where you will actually have the opportunity to do full body dissection, as well as using plastinated parts as well, and plastination.
That's true.
Yeah, so you will actually have an amazing blend of opportunities that perhaps you wouldn't get at many universities, even here in the UK.
I think especially the course anatomy is really amazing, because we combine like a 21st century teaching with the old style way using cadavers, which is not the usual in every country. So students start with the digital anatomy dissection table, and then with having this knowledge, they are continuing to have a practice with the cadavers. So I suppose that especially anatomy, plus we have a huge anatomy museum, then you can compare your knowledge on like anatomy preparates, let's say. So I think anatomy is one of our precious stone from the courses that we can offer.
No, I agree. Let's move on to, there's a couple of questions about the entrance exam, so we'll deal with those ones now. Sadia, you've asked about past papers or study materials. Masaryk on its website has a whole host of study materials specifically for the university that you can get access to, as designed, to help patch up gaps in your higher education curriculum, because A-levels, IB, CBSE, or the AP systems, they all teach slightly different content. that program won't replace your high school education, but it will certainly help patch up the gap, patch up those gaps. So do take a look at the Masaryk University site or drop me an email afterwards and I can send you the link to that as well. And then someone's asked about periodic tables of elements for the exam. No, any data that you need for the question is given to you in the question. So if you need to have that data on about a particular element, the atomic number, atomic weight, etc., that's given to you in the question. So there won't be a separate periodic table. You'll have a book of questions and everything is in that book that you will need. And you can write all over it, do what you wish, as long as you answer the questions on the answer sheet. Okay, exam locations. Now, obviously, we're only talking about the London exam. We don't run exams elsewhere at the moment, not in Hong Kong at the moment or in Dubai, but where else, has it, for other people perhaps who are not medical doorway applicants who are actually listening to this, where else do you guys run? Because we're back to in-person exams now. So where else are you running exams this year?
Well, I suppose that all students can or applicants can see the website and you will see we have a transparently available the list of our partners and the list of the places and countries where you can sit the entrance examinations. So it's almost all around Europe, and of course outside of Europe it's Emirates, it's Israel, it's Japan, Korea, and Thailand.
You'll find there are many exam centres all over the world, and that's what gives Masaryk University this great international community of students there and graduates going across the world. In fact, Masaryk is also US federal loan approved. It's on the FAFSA list. We do have American students who are studying in Masaryk University who have access to the FAFSA loan, also GI Bill approved. So if you're an American listening to this recording whose family were in the military, or say father was in the military, even retired, or you were in the military yourself and are leaving, you can actually access the GI Bill and take that finance with you to study at Masaryk University. Someone, good practical questions. Someone says, student accommodation, is it attached to the university or is public transport required? Well, public transport is required, and Brno makes most cities across the world look very amateurish when it comes to public transport. What does it cost per, I think it's like it's about 30 euros for 3 months of unlimited public transport for a student, I think, Susanna.
Yes. The students, you are lucky, you pay half. So, and even if it's not half, it's not so expensive, so you pay. Yes, last I checked, it was like, let's say 25, I would say pounds for 3 months. Yes. Yeah. And with the dormitories, so the closest dormitory is located 10 to 15 minutes by a bus, and there are other dormitories located, I think the further would be 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. So it's really easily accessible by public transport.
The bus system, the tram system in Brno is second to none, and I can vouch for that. When the time comes on the watch, the bus or the tram is there at that particular time, and very rarely is it not there on the particular time that it states. Okay, right, let me go back through student clubs and extracurriculars. Well, the one thing Susanna mentioned, and I would definitely recommend going on Facebook or Instagram and looking up MIMSA. The student group are extremely active, and not just active in terms of dealing with social things as well. Like if you do follow them like I do, very good at kind of helping the junior students with some of the modules, getting them ready for their anatomy, exams, etc., doing extra tutorials, extra seminars, as the senior students tend to do in many universities, but definitely do at MIMSA. But MIMSA also offers different opportunities like preparing for, applying to work in the UK or USMLE for the US, etc., as well as offering obviously social activities and things like sports, etc. I think MIMSA are just a real kind of gem for the university, really, and a great group of ambassadors. I think Helena, you definitely agree with me.
You are absolutely right. This Sunday, I guess we have a volleyball tournament, and there is some kind of spring ball organized in this moment. But as Ben said, there are several factors that MIMSA is focused. Social. Of course, tutoring, they also help you with the extra studies. If you need help, they have teachers among them, they can help you with the studies. Of course, they will, once we are organizing the orientation week prior the school starts, they are helping us with this. They organize for every afternoon. They organize the tour around the Brno, help you with the opening the bank account and etc. We organize the barbecue party together with them. campus tour. So might be I would offer you to contact them in case you would like to get the experience from the student side. And if you want to be sure that, for example, the Masaryk at Brno is the right choice, you can ask our students why they chose Brno, why they decided to go to Brno, not to Prague or anywhere else. What was the reason, and if they are satisfied.
Yeah, fantastic. Someone's asked about the foundation program. I think we can go back to that. And someone's asked, are you guaranteed that you'll be offered a place at the university? Well, you're not guaranteed if you just do the foundation program. There is an exam at the end of it, which is effectively very similar, if not identical, to how the entrance exam would be. If you pass the entrance exam, then you're admitted to the following year. So if you're someone who started the foundation program in October 2023, pass the exam at the end of March 2024, then you would have the opportunity to go on medicine or dentistry in September of 2024. So you'd have to pass an exam. It's not just a quick pathway through. Otherwise, everyone could just sign up for the foundation program and not do anything, but they will assess your knowledge.
Oh, actually, there is like the advantage if you participate in that course, if you have the attendance, and if you pass the final test. You do not need to pass the entrance examination. You are accepted on the basis of the result of this foundation. Wonderful. So for students, they are really studying during the course. They do not need to pass the entrance examination test.
Wonderful. Staying with exams, I know we've only got about 10 minutes before you have to go, Susanna, but someone's asked about the semester exams for the modules. Now, you know, very few, I used to work clinically, and none of my patients ever used to ask me to write an essay for them. They used to talk to me, and you'll find a lot of the exams at the university are going to be oral exams, because as a doctor, a dentist, you will be doing more speaking to patients than writing things down. But if you can give us an idea about how the different types of exams on the semester, on the studies, are actually organized, that would be fantastic, actually.
You mean during the clinical years?
During the studies and the clinical years, yes. During the preclinical and the clinical years.
Okay, you should realize that our study system is theoretically divided into two parts. 3 preclinical years, even though in the 3rd year you are participating in a clinical teaching. And the 4th, 5th, and 6th years, there's only like a clinical teaching, what we call blocks. So it means that since the 4th year, you are only studying in our teaching hospitals. For example, 2 weeks in a cardiology clinic, another 2 weeks in ophthalmology clinics, then orthopedics, etc., etc. So during those blocks, you have the credit tests, or after some time, in some courses, you have to pass the exams. During the clinical years, exams are always oral, because you have to be able to express your knowledge from the communication with the patients. You have to be able to express the clinical history of the patient. So therefore, please expect that the mostly medicine is based on the oral examination, not like the preclinical courses. In the biology, the final exams in a written way. Also, I think histology, I don't remember all of them, but some courses are finished by the credits or by the written exam. Some, and most of them are, because it's a medicine, are ended with the oral examination. Yeah. So during the preclinical years, as my colleague said, always you're studying a semester, like the similar way, like in a high school, and then is the 1.5 months of examination period. You are booking, you are the time manager of your exams. So it's only up to you, not on us, if you have a holiday or if you finish earlier. It's only up to your studies. We will provide you many conditions. What only we cannot do is studying instead of you.
And I honestly can't, this is a statistic that I've seen before, and this might sound strange to students who are on this webinar. The single biggest reason for students not getting through an exam is simply not turning up for the exam in the first place. If you plan your exams, you turn up for them, you'll progress through the course, like many of the graduates. I think if you do go onto a webinar that we've done previously, and a video that I've shared on our reels on Instagram, Dylan, one of your most recent graduates, so we will be graduating this year, is a British student who's progressed through the program, done everything as being organised, being prepared, and is now going to be walking into a career here in the UK. So let's go on, last few questions before we have to then say bye to Susanna and Helena, but someone's asked about the African community. There are students from all across the world in Masaryk University, including students from Africa, both students who are kind of moved from Africa, from African countries. We've got students from South Africa who enrolled this year. They were meant to enroll last year. They enrolled this year as in September 2022, who were meant to enroll in 2021, but the COVID pandemic put a delay to lots of visas from some countries. But we've got students from South Africa, from East Africa, West Africa, as well as people of African origin who are based in the UK. It truly is an international environment in Brno. And it's a young city, it's an educated city, so people are extremely tolerant, actually. So that's one question I do get asked about, and I'll confront it quite honestly. People do ask me, is there racism in these universities in the Czech Republic? And my answer is no, because there's a younger population, highly educated, open to the world. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but Czech students, as in Czechs, have to learn English at school from like 5 years of age.
I think they start quite early with the English and another language later on. So
yeah. So actually, you'll find that the Czech education system prepares Czechs for a world of work that's not just focused on the Czech Republic. So the Czech Republic is a very outward-looking country from that perspective, and as a result, you'll find a great diversity of people across major cities and towns.
We are a little country. We have to learn other languages because they don't speak ours.
A little country with lots of UNESCO World Heritage sites, actually.
Exactly.
Okay. So someone's asked about, are there any dental students or dental graduates who've originated from Hong Kong? We have run Hong Kong exams in the past, but I think most of our students who went to Brno were not Hong Kong passport holders. They were kind of Indian passport holders living in Hong Kong. I don't think there are any dental graduates at the moment from Hong Kong, but Helena, you can correct me on that.
I'm not sure if I understand properly, but if the current dental students or even graduate who was originated, if we have any, that's the question?
Not anyone who's graduated from dentistry from Hong Kong?
Not so far. Not so far. Not so far. We have students graduated from Taiwan, but not from Hong Kong.
Yeah. As I said, the dental program, I think you have about 30 to 40 students on the dental program.
In the dental program, there are only 20 students. So we used to have quite a lot of students from Taiwan, but the Taiwan made the like a return policy for the graduates from Europe very difficult. So unfortunately, even though Taiwan is very excellent student, we do not have any in this moment.
Yeah. As I said, I was in Hong Kong not so long ago, so please just drop us an email. I was at your school as well, and if there's any questions that you want me to ask to the university on your behalf, then just fire over an email to us and we can do that. Okay. And now I've put these last two questions together because that's why I've kept them. You can see on there. Someone's asking about kind of summer schools. Someone's mentioned, are there like programs or open days in the summer period for students? And then someone's mentioned about summer vocational classes. That's not something I've covered before, so I don't know if you've got more information.
We do not have summer vocational classes in this moment. We are preparing like a junior academy for the high school students that they can participate in our research activities. In this moment, we do not have summer classes or summer courses. We are thinking of it for the probably next summer, but like a part of the dissection part of the activities in a simulation center. But unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to prepare it for this summer. But so I'm sorry, we don't have summer school for high school students in this moment.
Yeah, and I just would like to say that I think it's a good idea, as we have the airport in Brno, it's connected to London. If, applicants are thinking about our school, they can definitely come and visit Brno and have a look themselves. Like, we do not organize campus tours, but they can reach out to MIMSA. They can reach out to our ambassadors, to higher year students, and they would show them around, definitely, the campus. And we can, of course, answer some questions regarding the admission in the office. But it's always good, I think, to see the campus, to see the city. And many students, when they come and look, they decide for Brno.
Wonderful. As I said, we get lots of requests for people to visit, and I forward those requests on to the team in Brno, and you can go and visit. And as I said, if you're not in London and can't fly direct, I live near Manchester. I fly to Vienna, and it then just a 1 hour, 30-minute train ride from Vienna. And Vienna's a great airport. You fly into Vienna, you're straight on a train to Vienna's main train station, and then on a train straight into Brno. It's all part of the Schengen zone. So when you get to the border with the Czech Republic, you just simply cross over. There's no passport check at all. Well, it's not planned this way, but it seems to work out very effectively that we've got through all the questions and the presentation, bang on the 1 hour that we'd allocated for that. So there are no other questions at the moment on our Q&A, and nothing else on YouTube or on Facebook. But thanks for those people that have joined us on all of those fora. And then for people watching the recording after, this is going on our YouTube channel as well. And I'm going to send it to everyone as a link to who was signed up for this webinar, those who actually registered and signed in, or those who couldn't make it. But I do want to say a huge thank you to Susanna and Helena that have given up their late afternoon to join us.
Pleasure.
Yep. Thanks for all the questions. I didn't identify quite a few of the names there. So I have seen some of you who are asking the right questions, and you're going to be taking the exam with us in London next month. For those that have still not made their application or finalised their application, there's still some time. The sooner we do it, the better. 30th of April in central London. And like I said, if you pass the exam, you've then got that opportunity. And we usually get the exam results out around about 3 days after the exam. So you're not waiting for months on end like you would in the UK to find out if you've been admitted. For those UK medical applicants who are perhaps listening to this, you should know really by the end of next week, beginning of next, if you've got your offer for UK medical schools. If it's a no, and we have 30,000 people going for 7,000 places, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the journey. We've, as I said, over 270 graduates from Masaryk University are now working in the NHS, and that's data from the GMC, which was emailed to me directly, and more and more and more every year. In fact, there are hospitals across the UK who interview Masaryk graduates as a priority. And for perhaps those who got a bit dismayed with Brexit, in fact, there are a couple of groups of people out there who Brexit is an advantage for. If you're, for say, an Indian student, because someone asked about Indian students before, if you're an Indian passport holder coming from India or the Emirates, you now have the same rights to work in the UK as a doctor from France. So actually, Brexit may have given you an advantage on getting access to the UK labour market. And we have the new healthcare workers visa system here, which is a fast-tracked visa, which takes 3 weeks after you've got your job before you're working in the UK. So while it perhaps wasn't a great decision, obviously I'm a Remainer by background, you know, there are certain people out there who have an advantage from that. So if you're thinking about working in the UK, they may not actually have the same advantages of having to study in the UK. You perhaps could study in Brno or and then come straight to Britain and have that preferential access to the UK labour market as a doctor with a qualification automatically recognised here. So I'm going to say thank you, Helena, Susanna. I'll see Susanna in a few weeks in London, in about just over a month for the entrance exam, and we'll catch up with Helena again at some point in the future, probably in September when we're here for enrolment. If anyone any more questions, hello@medicaldoorway.com, go to our website or give our office a call or book a consultation. You can book a Zoom consultation with us on our website as well. We have some availability in April, but it is getting busy. And if we don't hear from you, best of luck and have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.